My name is Chris Claremont. You're watching Omni X-Men.
What is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. We are back with another episode of Omni X-Men. My name is Justin, aka No Good Comics. Welcome back to the channel. We are talking Pryde and Wolverine, the miniseries that came out in the early 80s. This is issues 1 and 2 that we're breaking down tonight. And we're going to be doing this over the next couple of weeks, all the way. It's a 6-issue miniseries altogether. Of course, if you're not familiar with the show, we break everything down from the Chris Claremont Omnibus. We're on volume 4 right now. So looking forward to breaking more down with you guys, Kitty Pryde stuff. So of course, it's not just me. It is my co-host here as well with me and good friend John from John's Comics with Kids. John. Oh,
Hey, so like this is the book, right? We got storm fighting ninjas, right? That's the one we're doing tonight.
Now. It's the book now.
Storm versus ninjas. Let's do ninjas. More ninjas. Yay!
I'm all for that too. You know.
Hey, happy Tuesday.
What's up, Johnny boy?
Just excited to be here. Excited to be talking comics tonight, and we got a homie that I haven't hung out with in a while. I know you haven't seen him in a couple of days.
It's been a long time.
It's exciting.
a few hundred minutes for sure.
I do miss chilling with this guy, although every weekend this guy's doing great interviews and stuff. So I get to hang out, watch him through the chat. He's just awesome. He's been somebody that from the Instagram has like now expanded over to the YouTube, and he's just such a perfect example of what you want from a community member, right?
100%.
Loves people, loves comics, it has so much enthusiasm and excitement for books. Like I feed off of it big time.
He also kicked off Throw Your Sets Up Saturday. If you guys are not participating in those fun hashtags over on Instagram, but let's bring in our special
Figgy Friday
special guest. Yeah, Figgy, that's right. Yeah. We're talking about our good friend Phable.
Thanks,
Station, brother.
Oh, thank you guys. Man, that was awesome.
It's been a while.
Listen, 100 minutes is still too long.
That's right. I agree. It is.
You guys want me to? You want to get you guys a room? Do you want me to take a break?
Yeah. Let's get John out of here. We appreciate you being here, man.
Hell yeah, brother. Anytime, man. I love doing this show with you guys. This is a fun time all the time, every time.
Absolutely. We appreciate it. And for anyone who is either watching now or watching the replay, if you guys are not already connected with Phable, make sure you do so. I put his information in the description below, his Instagram and his and his YouTube channel.
He's rocking that MacBook. Look at it. I love it.
Upgrading every time.
I love it.
Make sure you're following Phable if you're not already. And of course, make sure you're following John as well. We're going to be back on John's channel to break down issues 3 and 4 of the Pryde and Wolverine series next Tuesday. So we'll keep that going. So before we get into it, again, we're breaking 2 issues down. So, we'll try to get through this in a reasonable period of time, because John and I will be over on JP's channel after this to talk some Black Hammer. So definitely a fun long night of comic book talk. But before we get into it, quick reminder that to stick around after the show, because we do have trivia questions for you. Anyone here in the chat, where we're going to ask total of 4 questions about last week's episode and last week's issue. So make sure you either have the right answer, or if you can make Phable laugh the hardest out of anyone else's wrong answers, you could also get a point that way, and you'll be included in our raffle at the end of the season. Before we get into the fun questions and the book itself, let's say a quick hello to the chat. I do see Candace hanging out, first one in the chat there. Good to see you, Candace, as always. We got Adam Make Stuff Up as well. Pryde and Wolverine, as he says. Jackson Roy Kirk also hanging out with us. Good to see you, Roy Kirk. Let's see, Johnny Boy in the chat. We got Ryan Magic Lasso in the chat. What is up, Ryan? We got my man Conlin Comics in the chat as well. Conlin's been doing a lot of great content with new comic book day and things like that, so definitely check him out. Really good guy
right now.
We also got Cliff on Comics, who was just our guest a couple weeks ago. Good to see you, Cliff. Hello. Let's see. Scrolling through, I see 62 Lefty Blues. Look at you, 62, coming in early here. He's on fire always with the comedy answers. I'm always used to seeing his name coming up at the end.
I did not catch up on my sleep. That's not something I do. And I just subscribed to Conlon. He has 9 subscribers, and I'm one of them. So boom.
Nice. Hell yeah.
We got Stu in the chat as well.
Brother. Station.
Channel with us, and we're just hanging out with him also over on Fable's channel. Good to see you, Stu. Let's see, scrolling through. I see everybody saying hi. I see Cali Comics.
Hey, Cali.
Station, my friend. And another, we got Bobby Delgado, Station Bobby. Hello, hello. We got Naman in the chat, a comic bookworm. Naman. What is up, Naman? Let's see. We got Kenneth Bird in the chat as well. Hope you're doing well, sir. We got Eric in the chat. Station Eric, good to see you. Man, we got everybody hanging out here. We got Guy Forge in the chat. What is up, Guy Forge? My dude. Let's see. I think I got everybody here at the moment. I mean, oh yeah. I didn't even read the comment. I was just looking at the name. That's right, Guy. It is all about the long hair. Long hair, don't care. All right, let's get into some of the fun here. John, I know you like to ask our guests some difficult rapid fire questions here. So Phable, we got a couple for you here tonight.
Yeah, no explanation. He's just going to give us answers and his thoughts on some of these things. And Conlon, I dropped his link in the chat for those that want to sub up while we're jumping into this. Okay.
Thank you.
Which X-Men or which mutant character should, a lot of them have these, but which one should never have a clone? Nobody gets a clone. This mutant should never have a clone. Who do you pick?
Legion.
That's a great pick. Great pick. All right. Let's see. If the X-Men were going to field a sports team, which sport should they play?
Hockey.
Oh, there's some bruisers. It's
a good one.
Let's see. Who's more dangerous, Sentinels or Terminators?
Terminators.
I kind of agree.
Yeah.
They're not pink and purple, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Who is the most, in your opinion, the most underappreciated mutant character?
That's a good one.
There's just
I don't think she's underappreciated, but maybe kinda because of her lineage. But I guess X-23. I think X-23 is
great pick.
Yeah, I think she's the Miles Morales of the X-Men universe. Like she's that new character that should be more
great pick
featured.
Kind of in the shadows of Wolverine too.
Yeah.
At times.
So Marvel wise, would you rather live in the Baxter Building or the X Mansion?
Ooh, that's a good one. I want to say Baxter Building. There's a lot of toys there, but then I feel like the Baxter Building will kill me in some sort of way. So I'm going to say the X Mansion because at least the mansion part's kind of cozy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite X-Men artist?
Wow. Damn.
On Baxter Building.
Oof.
There's a lot of great ones. There's no wrong answer, right?
I'm gonna go Jim Lee. I'm just because that's my childhood X-Men artist. Even though I love John Byrne, I'm a John Byrne fanatic.
Totally.
But Jim Lee is my X-Men, and he's also so influential in the look of the X-Men that I love, like Cyclops's, whole thing, and Rogue's whole thing, and
for sure.
Gambit, and the look of the X-Men I love. He made that.
Yeah.
All right.
100%.
Would you put? Do you think it's a good idea to have a danger room in a school?
No.
Is Cyclops the best team leader?
Oh, if you would have told me this 30 years ago, I would have said yes. But since then, I have grown to love Storm.
There it is.
So I'm going to say no.
Let's see. Would you date a telepath?
Hell no.
I love that. I love that. All right. And do you think Gambit has a lower back tattoo?
Yeah, hell yeah. He's from New Orleans, right?
He's like, definitely.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
He's on the wrong side of a lot of things. All right. Well, thank you, Phable. I appreciate you, brother.
Well done. Yeah. Well done.
Great.
Got a couple other people want to say a quick hello to in the chat before we get started. Brother Joe, Station Brother Joe.
The best singer in the comic book community, right?
That's right. He was rocking out. He was rocking out. We got JP. Yep. See, get ready for. He said odds.
Hey.
This. Hey, he's taking bets right now. JP.
Phable was tight on those questions and answers. He was blasting. He was not playing around. So
that's
respect.
Right.
Got two issues, man. We got two issues to cover.
Let's see. Scrolling through, seeing everybody saying hello to everybody. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. All right, I think we're good. Let's kick it off here. So obviously we got two. The way I did this, I think we can. Let's just talk about the first cover. I'm going to go to this next page. We'll talk about the first cover, and then we'll get into talking about the second cover when we get there for that one. So let me move along here. We'll jump in. We'll get to the splash page in a second there, but I want to get your guys' thoughts on the actual cover itself.
Sure.
John, I'll start with you. What were your initial thoughts, or what do you think of seeing this cover out?
The GIF is great. I love it. I will say I am not, and I'm sorry for fans. I'm not an Al Milgrom guy. I'm not. Sometimes it just feels very much like lower level Marvel house style, and it doesn't have the same quality that I want from a lot of these. So, but obviously he turned out books quickly. He could do a ton of stuff, and there's a skill on his side that a lot of artists don't have. But for me, they're always true to the story, these covers, but they don't always like I look at this cover, I would not buy this off the shelf. I'd be like, she's like, just I don't know what this is. There's no where's Wolverine? It's Kitty Pryde and Wolverine. Where the heck? I get half his face. That's what I get. So not a huge fan.
Fair. That's fair. Quick hello to Chet Knight in the chat.
Hey,
Station Chet. Phable, I'll pass it to you. What are your thoughts when you see this cover?
I totally echo everything John just said. I'm not a big Al Milgrom fan. I agree. Everything he does sort of looks rushed in a lot of ways. But at the same time, I think the inker, I don't know who the inker is on this book. I think they have a lot to do with some of the art not looking so great in this book. I'll say that. But I agree.
I think Glennis, was doing the color. I think Al was inking himself because he does does most of the inking for a lot of other artists in this era. So I'm fairly sure he might have inked his own stuff, but I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
Roy Kirk says Milgrom is good for inking.
He is. I think he's a better inker than artist, and a lot of times he cleaned up other people's stuff really well.
But yeah, this cover I probably wouldn't. I'm just saying it doesn't jump out at me.
I think that's fair. So one thing, I had the opportunity to interview Al Milgrom about this series earlier. Towards the middle of last year. I didn't share it yet, and I'm trying to think of when, John. I was going to maybe either drop it in the middle of the week or wait until we're done with all 3 issues and then air it or something. It's it's probably a 7 or 8 minute little interview.
Here's an idea, because we have this week, we have JR Rogue's Law next week, then we have a week off. You could drop it in the week off, and then we come back for the finale on your channel with JP a week. So we have a gap week. Maybe that's what we put.
We'll lock it in. That's great. So yeah, he and just not to spoil anything, he talks about the covers, and he tells a little bit of the story of how these covers take place, and he actually has a really interesting story about this particular cover as well.
Gotcha.
So I'll we'll set that up and post that later.
The comment of the night, he says, as long as the title says Kitty Pryde and Wolverine, I'd buy it even if a blind chihuahua. True. Which I respect. I mean, these characters are iconic and phenomenal, and you love them together. And the history of this event is big.
Yeah,
for sure. Milgrom is a lovely 6 on the scale of 1 to 10.
Quick hello to Ryan in the chat. A couple others I missed earlier. Sleepy Reader Damien, good to see you. And we also had Brian LCS.
What's up,
Brian? And Johnny Knight also hanging out in the chat as well. So, all right. So, yeah, I'm with you guys. Not necessarily crazy about this. I think, having Wolverine part of this would have pulled me in a little bit more. I mean, the title helps knowing that, you assume he's part of this.
Eventually.
Right. Yeah. But all right, let's get into it. We get this first splash page, and Kitty Pryde, as we last left off with kind of where this picks up. Technically, in the Omni X-Men world, this show, we're a little bit past it now, but this technically picks up off of issue 183 when Kitty Pryde decides it's time to go after her heartbreak with Peter, and she just can't take the pain at the moment with what she had gone through with Peter breaking up with her, or essentially, announcing that there's someone else, and so she leaves to go back to Chicago, where she's from, to go visit her dad, and just to get support from him and just be away some time to herself. So that's kind of where we leave off. So here she is. She's talking about getting some of her ice skates to go maybe see if her dad wants to go ice skating. She's walking to the bank where her dad works. We'll get into a little bit more detail, but just your initial thoughts here on maybe some of the artwork and maybe what's going on through Kitty's mind right now. I want to get your guys' thoughts, because she does kind of explain a little bit of detail of where she's at mentally, what she's kind of gone through, how she's been with the X-Men, how she's saved the world, how she's gone through heartbreak, covers a lot of different things. So John, I'll pass it back to you first. Any just initial thoughts when you first see this opening page?
I will say Milgram is better with backgrounds than with characters, and I love the scenery that we got going here. I do think she's incredibly casual with her abilities. Like people are like, that lady just walked through a tree. She's pretty chill about it. And yet again, we're getting an amazing ensemble outfit. And you better just get ready for this outfit for a while, because you're going to see a lot of this costume for a stretch here. I think it's just another great staple for this character, who is going through emotional upheaval on a whole new level, right? Boyfriend collapsed, that her home at the X mansion seems thrown aside. Her family life, as we're learning here, parents at the divorcing, and all the drama that goes along with all of that. And again, as a kid of divorce, I was 10 when my parents were both remarried. This is preaching to Johnny, right? I wanted to be Kitty Pryde. I wanted to live in the mansion and hang out with all these characters, and I was going through a lot of the same things she was going through. So for me, I connected with her in a big way, and this is a kind of fun way to start the story, because I was invested on this page.
Yeah, wow, well said. Phable, anything to add here to kind of your initial thoughts as you opened up the book for the first time and just seeing you? By the way, to clarify, you said, Phable, that this was your first time, right, jumping into this series?
Yeah, that I've ever read this. Yes.
Cool. Yeah. So, what were your thoughts here, just reading this from start?
Yeah, I gotta agree. Just like on the splash page alone, that this is probably one of the best splash pages in this issue from Milgram. But it also shows what I'm talking about with the inks. If you look at the tree and how it's outlined with the blobby blacks, and I'm just not a big fan of it. But I love how Claremont just catches me up, because I didn't read the previous issue where she broke up with Colossus. At least not in this. When we read this.
Yeah.
So I love how he catches me up right away. So yeah, I knew I was in for a Claremont story as soon as I started reading it.
No, that's a great point. I think they do it in a nice, subtle way where you're not, he doesn't waste too much time, kind of gets to the point, uses one page, and then kind of moves on. So, yeah, I'm with you there. Candace here said, I don't like the splash, but the winters are accurate. Yeah. Oh, I bet. In Chicago up there. Yeah, for sure. All right. So, next up, let me jump back here. So from there, we get a couple things that go on here. She decides she's going to go to the bank, visit her dad. She realizes that the bank's closed, the door's locked, and she, just kind of a slip of the mind that didn't realize that the bank was going to be closed. But she decides, I'll just sneak in there as usual. Luckily, our security guard Cliff from Home Alone doesn't see her right away. So she's able to walk through, and he's like, Miss Pryde, go on in. And he's just like, man, I swear I'd lock these doors. And then meanwhile, she goes up to the main door where his office is, and the door is closed. She hears all this whispering going on, and wondering what's going on. And you see just kind of a little introduction here of the guys. And actually, I might actually be missing a page, but she actually does go in because she hears like a slap and arguments and things going on. She's concerned for her dad, so she goes in and sees that these guys are here. He kind of like stumbles and explains that these gentlemen, they're representatives of the corporation that recently bought the bank. You know, it was his bank that he owned, and these guys, though, they seem a bit ruthless. There's, you know, one that is more of a bodyguard. The key guy that we meet here is Ogun, who he introduces, the one that's to the far right. We get Mr. Delino and Mr. Walsh. He describes them as North American Management Team, and Mr. Shumai, which is the bodyguard that you see there. So, yeah, just like knowing that there's something sketchy going on here. You know, the dad getting hit, you know, behind closed doors, the argument that she heard, and the way that these guys are kind of acting right off the bat is definitely sketchy. Phable, I'll pass it to you. What are your thoughts on just you know, Kitty Pryde, her experience of just, you know, again, she's just looking to catch up with her dad and you know, maybe go out for dinner. She's looking forward to stuff like that, and then she runs into all this trouble. What are your thoughts here?
Well, it was cool finding out that, you know, about her dad, you know, that he owned the bank, and you know, just getting into that aspect of where she comes from and stuff like that. And she was obviously familiar with this security guard, so that was cool too. He must have been working for the family for a long time. So that bit of information was just cool finding out, because I love this character. So that was awesome. But I thought it was a little funny that she just like waltzes in the bank, you know, doesn't tell her dad she's coming. And then when she can't get in, she's like, hey, I'm going in anyway. Here's a noise. I'm going in anyway. she's definitely the princess over here. Right, Daddy's bank. So, but no, it was cool finding out all this information. And then also getting introduced to these cool mobsters.
Yeah. John, anything to add there?
No, I mean, I think it's a great setup. Obviously, this is the exposition in some ways, where they're giving us the threat, the big bad, the inner story going to go on here for Kitty. So that stuff is laid out. It's very like prototypical story stuff. I think it's done really well, though. Like Claremont can set up a basic idea and then kind of run with it.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So I'll jump into this next one here. As we see what goes on, it was weird. So I kind of jumped around to add some extra or exclude some of the pages. But you know, at one point they kind of laugh at Kitty because she thinks that, you know, they can go out to dinner afterwards, and he explains how, no, I have to go. You know, I have to go meet with essentially the guy who he's doing business with here, the new owner, who happens to be in Japan, and they're doing a flight overnight, and so they can't. So he gives Kitty Pryde some money and says, listen, I need you to go back to Professor X. And clearly he's scared too. Like he's trying to like get Kitty to go home, go back to, you know, the mansion where it's safe with Professor X and the rest of the mutants. And so he's giving her, you know, money, some money, says, get a cab, get back on a flight, and we'll catch up when I get back from Japan. And she is very curious as to what's going on, and so curious that she, instead of going and listening to her father, she ends up going to get on his plane instead and wants to go to Japan. And so she ends up finding a plane that she's able to do that with. It's not his, but she finds another one that ends up flying out that way. It's so convenient, right? Her power is just being able to jump on wherever she wants. So she gets in with the luggage. I love these scenes of like her climbing in with the luggage, and it's like, man, it's true. Like it's kind of convenient. And then she ends up finding a spot where she can, you know, she gets out and I mean, she should know better that, you know, these things are regulated. These seats, you know, clearly if you know, seats belong to certain people, and if one's empty, it's for a reason. And so she finds this one spot in the back. She thinks she's okay, but one of the women on board, the stewardess, they find her and question her essentially about it. So it doesn't quite work out, and it seems not good for Kitty that once she gets off this plane that, you know, she's going to be in trouble. So, John, what are your thoughts here? Kitty Pryde, you know, getting curious here and you know, going after her dad instead of listening to what he said to do.
Firstly, yeah, I totally agree with you. It's fun to see how a creative, intelligent kid who's mastered skills of her powers could use them in a circumstance such as this. So she's very like clever in how she kind of operates a lot of this, but of course, you know, is it still a teenager and gets caught at some point. Don't love the faces. The faces I find really kind of distracting. The different drawings of her face are they feel like some kind of a stewardess manual from 1950 or something. I don't know quite what I'm looking at here. Hello to Alan, by the way, from Climbing Comics. What's up, Alan?
Hey, what's up, Alan?
But yeah, I do love what you see as she has learned certain things about what she can do and has been trained and has a little bit of that to benefit her.
Totally. Phable, what about you? What are your thoughts here? She's not listening to her dad. She's going off, to Japan, which is, I mean, very dangerous, right? Not sure.
Yeah.
No one knows where she is.
No passport, no clothes. She's still in that ice skating outfit.
Right.
Yeah.
She got a couple bucks because her dad gave it to her, but
Yep.
she used some of it on the taxi. What are your thoughts here, Phable?
I mean, yeah, I think it's a bit crazy that she would jump on a plane to Japan. I mean, does she know how long it takes to get to Japan? Maybe not. Maybe not. She's young. But then again, that's what makes it, cool, because like you said, and I think he's doing that on purpose. It's like, she is young and he's trying to point that out. Like, she just did it all willy nilly. Of course, it's her father.
Right.
Yeah.
She wants to protect him and she knows she has these powers. Now she's like dumb to it. She's an X-Men, for God's sake. So she's like, I'm gonna save my dad, and I get it. But at the same time, yeah, she did some stupid kid stuff. She even says it, like, she says Wolverine's gonna be pissed at me.
She knows.
She knew it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So moving on then, so they arrive. I like that cool shot of the plane in blue there with the black background, kind of a Nightwing there. So a couple things. She immediately uses her powers to escape. She gets out of the bottom of the plane. The stewardess is there, like, trying to, like, oh, where did she go? She was just here. And then there's a couple people who are kind of after her, but she ends up outrunning them. Gets onto a train there and rides it out. And in this time when a bus. In this time, it's really interesting because she is, she immediately was just in America. So like the adjustment and obviously probably the time and everything else, she's not really quite thinking. And when she goes to have like conversation, even on the bus, she forgets, like, oh, that's right. Like I should be speaking Japanese. So she starts, and one thing that we learned that I think is really cool is that, cause we were like, does she, fully know or understand? And we learned that during the time period that when all the X-Men were in Japan, Professor X actually telepathically taught all of them how to speak the language. So she was actually pretty well equipped for this, more equipped than I would have been if I was in her situation to in terms of communication and everything else. So that kind of worked out. And then of course she's trying to figure out where she needs to go. Very smart on Kitty's side. She thinks of the guy who she met, the last name. She looks it up in the phone book or makes a call, finds out the location of this business that has the same name. Happens to be this huge building that you see on the right hand side. And then, of course, there's a bit of a storm coming. You can see the clouds kind of coming in. She's a little concerned. She starts to think about, what she's going to do. She doesn't really have money. It's starting to rain. She's like, oh, maybe I should just, go inside here. She's starting to be concerned about, some of the items here. And so she goes in. Before I go further on that, John, anything that you want to add here with kind of, Kitty Pryde's escape or just the fact that, she was able to turn it on and speak Japanese from what she learned from.
I love that. I love that throwback, that callback to, because it's been so long since they were in Japan. It's been such a long time that to remind us of that what Professor X was able to do and how she's able to recall that was really cool. I was telling Bobby, yes, she can phase through Earth, and Whedon had her do it in Astonishing X-Men. She phases a missile that was going to destroy Earth. She phases it and her through the Earth. She dies doing it. Spoiler to a book that was 20 something years old, but she can. I don't know that it's the fastest way to get from Chicago to Japan, but it's certainly an option, I guess. I do love that, and I think you see a lot of ingenuity. Although her plan is getting more ridiculous by the moment. Now she's breaking into some Japanese business corporation offices, and it's starting to rain. She's got no money. She's got no food. She's got no clothes to change into. It's getting a little buck wild here.
Agreed. I'm going to go into this next bit, Phable, and then I'm going to pass it over to you. So of course, as she climbs her way up through the building, right? Because we know that she's able to like walk on these these particles and or molecules to make it wherever she wants to go. So it is a cool use of her ability that we get to see that again. She goes through the floor that she essentially knows that she needs to go to, and then she gets tired. I mean, she just flew from across the state there, from across the world, so makes sense. She's really tired. She ends up crashing on the couch. A few hours go by. We're not even sure how long goes by, but it looks like there's a cleaning person that comes in there. There's a mop and bucket that drops to the floor. She is startled. She wakes up. The woman starts yelling and screaming, and Kitty's trying to have her calm down, that she's no threat. And out of nowhere, it looks like Cliff again, almost from that angle. Anyways, another guard comes in and just starts shooting at Kitty Pryde. You see she jumps through the glass, and goes falling through. This was like over the top, and then you see that it's raining, it's cold. She's walking. Those last few panels there, it's freezing cold. She starts to just think about like what is she going to do? Her concerns right now with the situation that she's in. Phable, I'm going to pass it to you. What were your thoughts on some of this? I mean, one, it's cool to see her abilities climbing up into the building. And then two, this, just getting startled and kind of being back to square one.
Yeah. Of course, great character development here by Claremont, giving you her thoughts as she's going through this situation, and her realizing she might have been a little too, hasty in her actions. And now, she realizes she's in another foreign country, And I want to say also, just to call back to the panel before where John said that the callback to them learning Japanese, I think that's so awesome because it helps when the writer of the book is writing this mini series, right? Instead of how they do it now, where they get these other guys to write these mini series. This is where he takes the chance to build Kitty up a little more, and so this whole sequence of stuff shows a lot of that, and it's great. Always explaining the use of the powers, never shy about saying what she can do or what Wolverine can do or anybody can do. This is what I love about Claremont. So this is great.
Yeah, well said. John, anything to add here with Kitty using her powers, getting up into the building or anything?
That security guard was ready. I mean, it was like a half a panel later. That guy shows up and he's got the gun ready. He's popping caps. He's not checking to see like who broke in here. He's finding a teenager in ice skating clothes and he's popping off. He's just ready. I mean, she wasn't wearing a hoodie. Sorry, I might have been too on the point there. It's a little bit much. At the same time, I do love anytime writers in the stories using Kitty highlight her ability to levitate, because I do feel like it's often forgotten. It's not just phasing through things, but when phasing, she can rise and lower herself. Otherwise, she's just going to fall through the floor every single time, or get stuck. So that levitation ability when she's phasing is cool, and I love seeing it like we see it here.
Yeah, great point. I want to say a quick hello to Joel the Geek in the chat. Hello, Joel. We have so we're gonna keep it going here. So she then she's walking down the street and a car just drives by. She gets splashed. Like it's just not her day. She starts to realize she's starting to feel sick. She's feeling a bit ill. She has no money. She's hungry. And she's starting to legit think I need to figure out a way to get money. She realizes, hey, I could, take from an ATM here. So she does so and takes out a wad of cash, and immediately, the alarm goes off. She goes running. There's police that are, chasing her down. She runs all the way through and it falls into the sewer. She's down into this. She is in the worst of the
Justin,
worst.
I got to ask, you're reading this. Are you just are you starting to laugh at this point? Are you starting to slap your forehead? What's the emotional experience for you right now?
All of it. It's because it's it all hits at once, but it makes sense, right? It's like she, you'd be way off on sleep for sure. And I know if I'm that far off on sleep, I might get a little sick. I might have a little bit of a cold or a fever. She's out in the rain, and usually, at least when you're on the plane, you're gonna eat, right? You're gonna have you probably have 2 meals, going to Japan. But she had 0 meals, so she didn't have a protein bar, nothing. So she's got to be lightheaded. I know I'd be lightheaded. I'd probably be throwing up. Not me. So for her. At least she's and it's funny because she's like, she feels so bad. I mean, we'll get to it, but she thinks about it mentally. There's like feeling really bad about taking the money and stuff.
Well, she's caught on camera. She's not wearing any kind of. She's not even
she's not used to
not covering her face. Nothing.
And she's not used to going against the grain here and being doing wrong. And she understands that, but she's just like, I need to eat. So no, this is crazy stuff. Fable, what were your thoughts here? Am I crazy for like? It's all just happening at once, right? Like,
this is. I guess he's trying to make it drive home the point that she messed up, right? And this is a great sequence of events. I thought it was like Groundhog's Day for her, like something like I don't know what she did wrong here, but everything bad was happening to her. But I enjoyed it. I mean, Claremont, he just has a way, man. He just has a way of making this stuff work. I love it.
Alan say, Kitty, you're not having a good day. No. Not at all.
I like Cliff saying Kitty is out there being a damn mess.
Yes. Yeah.
And Roy Kirk said earlier, those damn skates. I thought the same thing. I'm like, let go of the damn skates.
Oh, yeah.
What are you carrying those things for, right?
Hey, you never know when there's going to be ice in front of you and you got to, throw those things back on. Always be prepared. John, anything to add here with Kitty and stealing?
I mean, no, it's all, this is a comedy of errors, this portion. It's kind of like when you watch Meet the Parents for the first time, you're just sweating. You're like, oh my gosh, this is so going. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. Every decision is a worse than the one before. It's just bad. But don't worry, Daddy is about to get a call.
Yes. So let's jump into it. So, of course, as she hits rock bottom, she finally, gets to a phone. She ends up calling the mansion. Wolverine picks up, says, "Yo." And it's of course it's like the reader saying like, oh, you're receiving a call from Japan. He's like, what? From where? Who was that? And realizes who it is. And the minute that she hears Wolverine, she thinks his name and just hangs up, doesn't even say anything, and to just have Wolverine staring at the phone there with a big question mark there. And then right right after, she looks over at some of the TVs that are going on and realizes that she's like, she's wanted right now. Her mug is on TV that she just stole from the bank. Again, feeling really guilty about all that. She's like, okay, I just need to get back to my dad and just explain what is going on. I clearly need to go home. Like, I'm not in I should not be here. I'm in a lot of trouble, and I didn't mean it for any of this to happen. So as she's on her way back, we kind of flash over to the same building that she was in earlier, and we see let's see, did we get his name here? Mr. I don't think we get his actual name yet. We just have this older gentleman here who is explaining to her dad, Kitty's dad is there, that they're using the bank for laundering money that they're going to redistribute to different what do they call them? Legitimate investments, channels of legitimate investments. So he says, you agree? And he says yes. And then she immediately says, Dad, as she's like shocked because she's hearing this bad stuff going on, that he's, she doesn't know the full story yet, but she just knows that they're laundering money, and that's clearly, illegal and not good. So, and that's how this particular issue ends, issue number 1. John, what are your thoughts here? Yes, as she calls Wolverine here right at the end, doesn't even say a word to him. Daddy.
Yeah. No, I mean, she made the right call. She just didn't. She should have said, Logan, can you come pick me up in Japan? Because he's always down to go to Japan. Come on, Wolverine's got like, he's like, I got 2 speeds. I got New York and I got Japan. That's all I got. And it's Mr. Shigematsu. They'll say it in the next issue. Okay, yeah. I love the hint at Logan, obviously knowing that like that's what at least teenage John was there for. He was like, I want to cut some guys. Let's get some ninjas versus sword, claws. I want to get all that.
Yep. Absolutely. Phable, any thoughts here on kind of how this issue closes out?
Well, just art wise, I love the comic book nature of all these panels here. The question mark thing. I mean, I don't know if you would see that. I love
the question mark. It's like a video game.
But it's so comic book. Yes. Yeah, it's like what? Okay, listen. I know I talked shit about Al Milgrom earlier, but one thing about him is that it works. Like he services the story well, right? Even though I don't like the line work, the action of what he's doing fits what Claremont is saying.
Well said.
perfectly. And you see it really well when you're doing it the digital, the tablet.
Yeah,
When it's giving you that animated view,
like panel to panel,
right? Because Claremont is telling you what's going on, and Milgram is showing you what's going on.
Right.
And it's a great synergy. Even though, again, I'm not the biggest fan of his art, but I think he does it well. So these panels here, her at the end, and you see the, the rays coming out of her and stuff. No, yes, definitely a good hook to a story that I thought, even though I enjoyed it, was kind of like, okay, where's this going? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's not take any votes on thoughts of final issue yet. We'll go right into the next one if you guys are good with that.
Do it. We'll see your screen dad again.
So yeah. So yeah, boom, there it is. And of course we get the second cover here. I want to get your guys' thoughts on the cover first before we go into the splash page. So you see Kitty. We get Wolverine there on the right hand side, and we get this mystery person on the left with this what looks to be like this demon type of mask. Just general thoughts here. Phable, I'll pass it to you. What do you think of this cover?
Oh, definitely a step up. We finally got Wolverine on there, so loving that. I like the little death mask. I don't know what you call those things in Japanese, demon masks or whatever.
Sure.
I like that. But again, I still don't know what's kind of going on here, so I'm still going on Kitty Pryde and Wolverine #2. So but step up for sure.
Nice. And we got TK Batcave in the chat. What's going on, TK? John, what about you? What are your thoughts on this one?
Something that I forgot to mention when we were on the last one is the design of these covers is that they're all split right down the middle. So there's a line like trailing across all of them. I don't know if they stack vertically and the line just connects all the way down. I'd like to lay them out maybe that way because I know I've got these. But it's something worth checking out the way they're looking at sort of some of the duality going on here, whether it's New York versus Japan or young Kitty versus the warrior she's potentially becoming, or her relationship with Logan, all these kinds of things. There's some cool division work happening here. For me, this highlights a lot of Milgram's weakest parts, which are faces. You get too close to these faces, you're gonna be like, okay, let's back off a little bit. The demon mask looks awesome. I totally agree, Phable. It's a great design and a great look. And I do like some of the white ink line work going on around Logan, the way they kind of ink him out with white to make him pop out of her hair. So I dig that. But I think it would be cool to kind of lay him out.
Bobby had pointed that out too. Issues 1 and 2 cover both that slice down.
And I think all 6 do. I was just glancing ahead to see how I didn't remember 5 and 6.
They all do. Yeah, that was one of the things that Milgram had kind of explained when I.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff.
So
Candace saying that issue 1 cover is worlds better than this one, so she likes 1 more. She said, I like the first one because it looks like Kitty was phasing from one side to the other. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, she's split down the middle there. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so we get into this splash page here, and it picks right up from where we left off. Her screaming dad after she's heard pretty much, the plan here. So, before we get into the details of everything else, anything to add here just on this splash page, the artwork side of things, John, I'll throw it back to you.
I mean, it's her head doesn't seem attached to her body and she's wearing a crazy wig, but other than that, I'm cool with it. It does throw you right back where we left off, where you're wondering in your head, like, Kitty, you're supposed to be quiet right now. Why are you shouting? You just gave away. You could have just sat there and then waited until Dad was alone and then talked to Dad, but no, you're going to shout it. So it's just the ultimate, the last screw up, I guess. The last gaffe.
Right. Phable, anything to add there before we dive into some more craziness here?
Yeah, agree. Not the greatest splash page. And again, another example, like if you look at her hair and all those blobby circles in her hair and the floor, I don't know, that's kind of weird. Scratch
the shag
like
really close.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, it's not the best, but definitely picks up where the other story where it left off, and explains it too. So I love that.
Yeah. So let's jump into it then. As we see, pretty much, we have the same mobsters that we had, met back in Chicago. Only we have the other gentleman there. John, how do we say his name again?
Mr. Shigematsu.
Shigematsu.
He's the white bearded guy.
He's like the head, and he's like the head of what seems to be in charge of everything. Although we see a little bit of he essentially tells everybody like, get the girl. She can't hear my plans. That's whoever this is, we got to get her. Mr. Pryde is trying to explain like, no, that's my daughter. Don't do anything to her. And she has no problem taking on these guys. She's like, I may be sick, I might be on like no sleep or anything, but I, sure as heck can handle myself against these guys, knowing, that she's got the power and skill from her abilities and everything else. And she does pretty well there, throwing the chair around, knocking the guy over when she gets, nice little cheap shot that she gets to him before she runs by. And then interestingly enough, he does pull Ogun aside and first like demanding like, do this, go after so and so. And he kind of explains like, it seems like he's already been paid or I wasn't sure their establishment of how they kind of work together, because it didn't seem like he had full control over him, like he wasn't his guy. He kind of reminded him of that when he said, why didn't you stop her? He says, I'm not your bodyguard. He says, do not make the mistake of addressing me as such. So they kind of both have this like ego to each other, and he actually apologizes to Ogun, and then he makes a deal. He goes, basically the Ogun says, I want the girl. Like that's I guess for all the services that he's provided, he's like, you owe me, and the thing that you can pay me with is if I can have the girl. And he goes, if you can get the girl, she's all yours, fine.
Right.
So that's kind of how that portion ends. And then we do get the dad kind of he tries to step up and save his daughter and go to Ogun. Ogun handles him one-handed, just flips his arm up, says, say uncle, and just has his attention, and he threatens him and says, are we clear that she is no longer to your concern, she is mine now, and if you come back trying to get her in any way, you're going to regret it, and basically threatens him, and he just says yes. And I want to get your guys' thoughts, and especially from like a dad point of view, or like a father figure to a child, things like that. I felt like, I don't know, I feel like a dad is going to do whatever he has to do, to get his daughter. And regardless of if someone's got a gun to your head or whatever. Now, again, I can't speak from experience of myself, being a dad, but I just feel like, I know my dad would do that, and so on and so forth. And I know everybody's different, but like, I don't know, to me, that was just, this is just a sign of weakness, or maybe these guys are just, they're that dangerous that he's just trying to be safe. But I wanted to pass it to you guys, this whole sequence. John, I'll start with you.
I would say I'd be down to get rid. I got two, like, whatever. I would say this. If you look at this guy's sideburns that are down to his chin and his mustache, he's making lots of bad choices. So we can't trust this judgment very far. I think this guy flawed internally. He makes that decision really quickly too. He's kind of just like, they tripped me, I can't fight.
He's like a pushover,
He is. He's weak sauce. But don't worry, we got the extra spicy coming next.
I just thought there would be a berserker.
He is no Liam Neeson as Candace. He has no particular set of skills.
Yeah, that's fair. Phable, what about you? What are your thoughts there on the initial attack scene, Kitty handling herself pretty well, but this guy Ogun wanting to claim her for himself, a little creepy.
I like how it establishes that Ogun is a badass. He's the one to worry about in this whole scene. Kitty pretty much says so. She gets the feeling that he's just as vicious as Wolverine, and she could sense that right away from him. And then the way he backlashes at the other guy, the guy in the green suit, he's like, hey, listen. Who you talking to? You know what I mean? I'll whoop your ass, kind of thing. Like, and so I like that. The father is sort of cowardly, but he did try. I mean, but what is he gonna do? I mean, really. He said, he ran after it.
You got this. Well, a couple great comments here. Roy Kirk says his ex-wife did a number on him. That certainly could be. JP makes a good point. Says I can see him agreeing in the moment because he doesn't have the power to stop them. He can't really do much. I get that. And then he says, but we need to see him go to the X-Men for help afterwards. Agreed. Or or the police, somebody, as opposed to just standing around. So that's a good point as well, JP. All right, well, let's keep it going then. This page on the left here, a couple things that I wanted to highlight. One, as she's trying to escape, she's going floor to floor, which I think they did a really good job of kind of showing how that works out. I like the one guy working at his desk is like freaking out because he just sees like this girl just like fall behind him. The other thing is, mentally what she's thinking about right now is she's stunned that her dad, she's so let down, so hurt by her dad, and knowing the truth of like what's going on, what he's doing with these evil men and how he's using the bank and everything else. But then she's like, man, I thought right when you think you know someone and all this stuff, but she's also immediately thinks of Peter, and kind of what she had gone through, and where she's like, then again, I thought I knew about Peter. I thought he and I loved each other, and apparently I was wrong with that too, and didn't think he'd give up, but he did. And then this other panel here, kind of more in the center, it also shows she's sweating. Wanted to highlight that she is definitely starting to feel more and more ill throughout this time period. And then of course she gets greeted by, again, this guy in a suit with the red mask, who blows some sort of poison or smoke in her face that immediately knocks her out. So she's out cold, and then we flash over to Wolverine, who's trying to get on a plane. He's going through customs. Of course, the metal detector is going off. And I just love how afterwards they check his stuff, they clear him, and the guy's like, what are you going for? And he just turns around and says, business. Like, it's such a great Wolverine scene there. So
and I love that, like, she gets gassed out and then he's like smoking. He's just like, that smoke don't bother me, girl.
Yeah, no, he's so Phable, I'm gonna pass it to you. What did you think of some of the sequencing here? Her going through the different floors, and just hearing her thoughts on her heart breaking from her dad and everything else, and dealing with kind of the illness and whatnot.
Yeah, it's great. Great use of her powers, again, showing off, explaining more stuff of what she can do. That she can't breathe, right? Essentially, when she's doing this, so she's got to be careful. She's going to suffocate, and she can't go too low. You know what I mean? So she's got to, and also like keeping the whole "I'm getting sick" thing going on. So they didn't lose that point to it.
Right.
And of course, Wolverine at the airport is always awesome. I mean, you could imagine this in a movie, right? Like,
him going off.
Yeah. But damn, man, do you guys miss smoking Wolverine? I mean, he's smoking every goddamn day.
Smoking or drinking or both, I guess. That's how we see him.
Pretty much.
I don't mind. I mean, he gets the stogie still nowadays, right? Just not the cigarettes.
Every now and then, yeah. But not like this. I mean, this is like everywhere.
And getting on an airplane, 1985, smoking up.
Smoking on the airplane. Yeah.
You got him, light him.
John, anything to add here with any of the art here, the action sequences that we get?
I love the I think Candace was mentioning her falling through those panels on the far, like closest to us here. Great. Yeah. I love the demon guy in the suit. I love that look. It's like Quentin Tarantino did, I don't know, Japanese demon costume. I don't know. And he's dropping in and just getting her. I thought that was kind of cool. And then, Logan to the rescue. Let's do it. Here we go. This was Kitty Pryde and Logan. It's not, or Wolverine. It's not just Kitty Pryde. Here we go. Let's get some action.
Roy Kirk says, business. I'm looking for a teenage frail.
There it is. No, Cliff, I'm just teasing you, Cliff.
Adam, one ticket to Chicago, smoking.
There it is.
All right.
Cliff was talking about how he loved that era, the hair, the textural style, very popular in that look.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, just buckle up because it's about to come to an end. That long hair.
That's
right. Doing it.
That's right. So moving on, we get Kitty Pryde waking up in the dark. You hear a click, the light comes on. She's just standing there. She looks like death. The detail in her face, like tired, sick, all these different things, no sleep, like no food. Like we're fully aware now of really what she's been going through. And of course, terrified, running from the cops, all this other crazy stuff. Yeah. And then like out of nowhere, this swift blade comes flying by her face. It doesn't actually get her. It just kind of comes near her hair. She can't react though. She talks about how she's like paralyzed. She's too afraid to actually use her abilities because she doesn't know where the paralyzation will either stop her or let her fall all the way through, and she's not quite sure how her powers are going to work here. So this guy just comes back, the same demon, mask with the blade. He's starting to like cut up her shirt and the pink like blouse and everything else that she has going on, and just really like slicing her up, and all in her head she's just like, okay, this is it. This is how I'm going out. This is how I'm dying. I guess so be it. And every time the blade just stops the one on the side of her neck, and to the side of her legs, which she gets knocked down. I'm actually gonna, before I pass it to you guys, I'm just gonna, because this is a little bit of a sequence.
Yeah,
so
move it forward because there's
yeah.
I love it.
And then I'll get your guys' thoughts. So knocks her down, and then the haircut commenced.
The Friends haircut. I love it. The Dudley Moore haircut. So good.
So of course, now it's pretty much it's clear this guy has an agenda. He's not there to just kill her straight up. So, or else she clearly would have been dead. He's very good with the blade. So yeah, he just cuts her up and reduces her to what seems like nothing. I mean, and again, she can't move. I love this blade that comes down on the far right-hand side, and he stops it there. And between all this and kind of his mask and zooming in on her, kind of like hypnotizes her or really reduces her to square one again. So before I go any further with this, because I know we'll get a little more into it, but I do just want to get your initial thoughts on some of this opening scene, her being in the dark, the sword, the blade coming in, the haircut, all this stuff. John, I'll pass it to you first. What do you think of these last two slides here?
These are some of the better drawn pages for me. I like the use of the stark background, a lot of black, this harsh lighting, the way they're controlling the light work, really kind of cool. Her face looking so punished. And the demon, what's it, Ogun or Ogun? Really, really well done.
Yeah.
So I dig all of that stuff. But Candace makes a great point, and I've read these issues a bunch. I don't feel like
this here, and not there.
Oh. No. I mean, I agree with that as well. But no, I here's my point, and maybe Candace is this. Maybe you felt the same way. Reading it this time, I don't feel like Claremont earns this. What is happening here, and as I take it, and I would love to hear if you guys took it the same way, is between the psychedelic green smoke and whatever he's doing, he's basically brainwashing her and training her up and teaching. But it happens so fast and without enough explanation. So much time was spent on all these other things, and this is the pivotal moment, and we're kind of rushing through it and not earning the end result is cool. The end result, what we get out of this, is really interesting and makes for some dramatic sequences, but I don't think Claremont earns it. And I think it's because it gets rushed. So as a reader, you're like, what's going on? Like, how is she, like, in the next bit when she's like, I'm a kid and I'm flashing back, all the crazy stuff that goes on psychedelically, I just don't think it's given enough time to breathe to earn what we end up getting later on. So that was my frustration, and as a result, it becomes vague and hurried and not as impactful.
No, it's a great point. And let me just, because I did show this, and then Phable, I'll pass it to you. But yeah, some of these scenes here, and this is just the next couple pages that we see. You're right. She gets reduced to a baby mentally, is kind of the vibe that we're getting out of all this. And he's trying to train her from scratch, trying to show, he's trying to have her mirror him. Clearly she's a baby. She's like learning the dart throwing and everything else. And she slowly, it's almost like a montage of like, of training here. Put Rocky music on as you see this, but and she does get better, and it's all it's over the course of just these 3 or 4 extra panels. But Phable, what about you? What were your thoughts here? Tell us about the artwork, what you think of that, and then kind of to John's point, did you feel like this was rushed, or where were you at when you read this? Oh, you're muted.
You're muted, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah, I did feel confused initially. I did. I didn't know what was going on. Like Candace said, I was like, what is this about? You know what I mean? And then when it clicked, I felt like it was pretty cool. Like, I like how imaginative it was. Like him slicing at her neck and not quite hitting her, slicing at her legs and not quite hitting her, slicing her sleeves off, slicing her hair off, and her thoughts, like, you know, like you said, that this is when I'm going to die. And then her getting reduced to a child, and then him training her up from there. And I don't know, I thought it was really imaginative. I felt like this was, you know, a real cinematic. And like John said earlier, Milgram better, you know, this is his strength right here. This is his best work, in my opinion, panel-wise. His strongest so far. You know, I know there's 4 more issues, but so far this is his most striking work to me.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I do like that we get some of the use of, you know, bright color backgrounds, kind of just to change things up, you know. And an
adorable Chucky doll looking,
and
Kitty Pryde down there in the bottom middle there.
I don't know why, it just made me think of Beetlejuice with the shrinked head. Like, it just
oh my god, it's such a weird head. Such a weird head.
It just kind of came out of nowhere. I was like, what? So yeah, I agree with you guys, and I see everybody in the chat too. Like, I definitely had to go back and read that. Like, as I was going through it, I just kind of went with it, but at the same time I was like, wait, how did we get here? Like, how, or, you know, what, like, how did this happen? And how many days have gone by? Because I guess, I mean,
I think that's the question.
2 to 3 days sounds right.
Yeah, that's what Jackson says. Right. I don't know how much time passed. We can only judge it based on Wolverine, right? When he gets the call and when he finds her, right? Right. And we just have to try to guess.
Yeah.
You know, how long did it take him to get that plane, to get there, and then find her?
Because that's it's just got to be for the amount of training that we assume, because we do get some of these next panels, like, she gets really good, right? Like, really, really good at just knowing herself, knowing her opponent, how to utilize all the weapons and how to defend against all these weapons. Like, it's really, like, that part is really cool. Like, I do like the idea. You know, I think maybe I just wanted more elaboration on kind of how this.
I think it needed it,
because obviously years go in minutes, right? I mean, that's what we assume, because she's a baby, and by the end of the sequence, she's the age she's at.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, how is she retaining all this so quickly? Like, it took Bruce Wayne forever to do. You know, like, it's just like, you know.
Well, it proves that the most powerful element in any story is a montage. What you need is a montage.
I was gonna do the Daniel, you guys read the Daniel Warren Johnson book, right, where he does montage for the wrestling the wrestling book that he put out. Montage. Anyways, all right, well, let's get to the back end of this. So so this is just where we get to see how good she gets with the blade, defending with herself. Phable, to your point, I agree. I love the artwork in a lot of these action sequences, and also the layout, these squares that are like, you know, he's training her this whole time to shadow him, to mirror him, and that's exactly, you know, I put these Luda, like, I move, you move, like, she is exactly doing the very thing that he's doing, and I like how they do these triangles or the squares all down in orange, and it is like she is his shadow. And by the end of it, like, she is deadly, man. She is deadly. So just wanted to highlight some of those other things. So let's get into kind of what happens next here, because we get right back to Tokyo, and we see that as the people or the guys get back, or the mobsters get back to their office or whatever, and they just see a chair with a lit cigarette, and, you know, somebody's sitting there. And so,
you done screwed up. You done screwed up.
Yeah. So, like, some of the guys try shooting. That doesn't work. This yellow panel, really cool, swiping through blood and yellow is all you see, ketchup and mustard. And then all it is I keep getting this guy's name wrong. I should just have it in front of me now. Mr. Shigematsu is there with two women who we find out quickly that they're also bodyguards and can throw down. And Wolverine's like, oh, like, what does he say? He goes, oh, they're bodyguards too. Nasty. And he just, like, you know, deflects like some of the
just punches them both out.
And then he knocks them out.
Doesn't even say anything about it. He's like, I'm just gonna lay these girls out.
And he's like, what do you want? Wolverine's like, you know what I'm here for, Kitty Pryde. He's like, okay, like, we'll set it up, we'll make a call, you know, and we'll figure this out. Before we go further, though, definitely want to just hear your thoughts. So Phable, what did you think here? Wolverine doing Wolverine things. taking on this army of, essentially army of bodyguards, and like it's nothing, and getting his way. What do you think of these action sequences?
Again, not to beat a dead horse, I'm not the greatest Milgram fan, but what he does, he has great composition. Okay, you can see it when they're shooting in the dark, and then you just see the claws, right, and the two snakes in the black panel there. That's freaking awesome, right? Yeah. Just the thought, the concept of that. You know what's going on. You don't really have to even read it. You see what's happening here, which I love about the artwork. Also, and like you said, Wolverine being Wolverine, I love how the guy in the green, one chick like takes off in the air. like a damn
spider monkey,
like Big Trouble in Little Chinatown, like those like Crouching Tiger.
I love it.
Just takes off.
I love it.
Yep. It's awesome. Yeah,
so
like
good.
a kung fu scene, and it's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is a great comment. I'm glad you highlighted it. For me, that's the juice of all 6 of these issues. My favorite era, and I don't know if Phable, if you felt the same way, of Uncanny, where I came up reading it, she's always going to be Shadowcat to me. She's always going to be that version.
Same.
And you don't get Shadowcat without these 6 books. Like it doesn't happen.
No, JP is right on the money with that, because I felt the exact same way, because one of my favorite issues from 2023 was X-Men 25. That happened right after the gala.
Yeah, so she just goes freaking nuts.
Yeah,
it's my favorite issue, man.
Such a good read.
She's using her ninja powers with her phasing powers, and she's even more deadly when
which she'd never really done before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to read this, it's like, that's how it happened.
Yeah. She's had a lot of great training in sort of like ninja-esque battle, and this is the root of a lot of that. So for me, even the flaws are worth going over. And if I was going to pick, and shout out to Magic Lasso, my favorite panel is that yellow one that Justin mentioned. I'm so pumped that he talked about it.
Yeah,
because you can see the silhouette of Logan sort of streaking across. He's the closest to me in that yellow panel, and then just like blood in the middle, a gun flying off somebody's hand, and somebody's going down. Actually, there's 2 guns flying. So good.
Yeah.
Yes, Ryan. Shout out to you, Ryan. Shout out to you.
I had to say, Phable, I'm cracking up that you pointed out that the girl jumped up. I didn't really notice that the first time, so I was just laughing. Dude. Like I'm just genuinely laughing at that.
Assassin geisha. I don't know.
No, you're right.
She took off like a kung fu movie. Like,
dude, I'd be terrified. I would be terrified.
I love it.
Great. All right, so let's wrap it up here. We get to these last few panels, and of course, Wolverine makes the phone call. Or actually, it's technically Shigematsu who calls to say, "Hey, I got somebody here who's very interested. Like we got to work something out. Somebody's here who's very interested in that girl that you took." And he's like, "Okay, like we'll be right there." He hangs up and goes into this room, and all you see is Kitty there with the demon mask on, sitting with 2 blades on her by her side, and he just says, "Kill her." And they just go at it. There's crazy scenes, attacking ninjas from all angles. I don't even know how many there are. It looks like there's like at least like 5, 6 of them that jump in, 7 of them maybe, out of nowhere with all these different blades and weapons. And she handles them, just absolutely handles them like it's nothing. And then the way she talks to him afterwards and says, like she says, I did well, Sensei. Like, referring to him as Sensei, and just like fully into supporting and listening to anything and everything that this guy says and does and is commanding. He goes back in to Shigematsu, picks up the phone, says thanks for waiting. Literally had the guy on hold while that whole thing went down. And then he goes, yes, we'll arrange a meeting.
I didn't even think about that. It's so good.
Like, why not just tell the guy? Because all he says is we'll arrange the meeting for tomorrow, and like hangs
hold,
up.
Please.
He easily could have like said that. I'm totally gonna do that from now on, like at work, and then go do like something crazy and then come back.
Here's what I wanted to see is he now that you said that, he says, hold on one second. He just sets the phone right down. And then like the Kung Fu sites, and you cut to those guys listening.
Yeah, that would be wild.
What was that? Oh shit! Somebody's screaming. Oh damn! And then it
kind of what movie is he watching? Is
it like Bruce Lee?
So and then the very end here, he gets a visual. what's his name again?
Something, right?
Ogun.
Okay.
So Ogun said he sees sees what Wolverine is there eating, and he just says, "How strange! My old comrade."
It's
are
a
the
photo
way-
of Ogun
Laserface.
and
Photo.
Logan. It's a photo of
Oh,
Ogun
it's the
and
two. Okay,
Logan
I was
from
wondering.
long ago.
Okay,
we're
not a screen,
connecting
not a
now
screen.
to the Logan half of this and his
Okay,
history
yeah.
in Japan.
Yeah, and he says, "I see what I originally had in mind for you." So just a little reference or a little hint to their relationship in the past, that they used to know each other. And then Kitty Pryde walks right back up, reminds him like, "Hey, Sensei, I'm here. My wish is your command. Like whatever you need." And he goes, "Yeah, there's an enemy, a Cajun, that I need you to take care of. If not stopped, he will seek my life. I wish you to deal with him." She says, "You're trouble yourself no longer about this foreign devil, Sensei. He is good as dead." And it just ends there. So the end of this, very wild stuff. The action sequences, everything else. Phable, thoughts here on how this issue ends.
Oh, well, this is great because this is when you understand what he was doing to her and why he's doing what he was doing to her. Plot twist, I did not see this coming. She was going to be going against Wolverine. I thought they were going to be working together. So this was like, whoa, I didn't see this coming. They're going to be reversing each other.
Right.
I love the way this ended. This was the hook issue for me, honestly. The first issue really didn't do too much for me, but this was the one because I'm ready at issue 5. I haven't finished yet, but this is what made me like go, okay, I gotta see how this ends.
Nice. I know, and I'm with you. I think it was a little slow pace at first, but now that the story is kind of set and we get this connection, between Wolverine and Ogun, for sure. John, what about you? Kind of these final fight scenes, the fact that Kitty Pryde handles these dudes like nothing. What'd you think about some of this?
Firstly, I'm so stoked that after all these times reading this miniseries, you've pointed out something to me that I never noticed before, which was like the moment when he's like, "Thank you for waiting." The fact that call waiting figures more heavily into this than I had imagined. I love that whole concept. So putting them on hold factors in. So that was very funny. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. Always new stuff.
That's why you pay me. That's why you pay me.
It is. I'll double your pay. You double. Get the raise. I mean, it's cool. It's definitely exciting to see Kitty evolving from the timid character that she's been at different moments. We've seen her gaining skills as an X-Men character as part of that team, but independently as I don't want to say killing machine, but ultimately, yes, as a warrior, we're getting to kind of see that, which is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you guys. I mean, this was very satisfying to me, these last scenes, just to, again, kind of see her being a badass and taking on, the abilities that she has, but also very troublesome because her mind, she's like brainwashed at the moment. So it's also very concerning, how is she going to snap out of this? And, what's going to happen here with Wolverine and her. So before we get into the numbers, and pretty good timing, 10:15 right now, just about. So appreciate everybody who's watching. We still got 15 people hanging in the chat. So thank you all. Stick around. We're going to get into the questions here momentarily. I want to go over the numbers, but I do want to get your guys' grades as we do the grades here. So it sounds like, we all kind of have two different opinions on each of the issues. So I would like to hear how you would grade issue 1 and how you would grade issue 2. So looking for 2 grades from each of you, and anybody in the chat, feel free to kind of give your 2 in a row here for this. So John, what were any final thoughts here, and how would you grade both of these issues?
I think issue 1 definitely is not my favorite. I mean, probably a 7, something in that range. I like issue 2 more. I think in the end, maybe closer to an 8. And I think I'd probably give it a 7.5 across both for me for right now.
Fair.
The better stuff for me is a little bit later. And there's definitely elements of this that were rushed and elements that could have been expanded on. And I think explained better because they're so pivotal and important. The brainwashing of Kitty still just feels hurried, and I don't know that that's the part you want to hurry in this story versus like her breaking into that building for the 3rd time. Maybe that's the bit that doesn't need hurry. You could truncate that and then expand on the brainwashing, because I think it's interesting. But the proof is in the pudding. I think we get something great out of this in the end. The end result does justify a lot of what we're going through.
Nice. Well said. Phable, what about you? Any final thoughts, and how would you grade each of these individually?
Yeah, I gotta echo John's grades on these. I would say the same thing about issue 1, about a 7. Issue 2, about a 8. Probably 7.5 between the two together. I did read the issues ahead, so I'm a little jealous. I think JP got the better issues. I wish I would. I wish I would have read this before. So when John asked me, I would have stole those.
Hey, but at least you got to read all of these books and get your girl in the height of her early appearances.
But 2 definitely gave me the hook to keep going. And then also, like, I'm noticing in my older age reading Claremont that his work is good as a binge, right? Like, I couldn't imagine reading this month to month, issue by issue, right? But when you binge it, it's just so good. You just want to keep going. So, you notice the genius in him. Even when you stumble in issue 1, you're like, by issue 3, you're like, oh, you got me again, Claremont. You did it again.
Yep. JP said, I knew I wanted the ending. So yeah, I just realized, Sean, we got 2 J's. We got JR and then JP. A lot of letters and guests these next couple. Well, I'm with you guys. I did enjoy, like, some of the little things, like her concerns with stealing from the bank or from the ATM, things like that. I'm going to give that first issue a 7.5. And I think this one for me is an 8.5. So the artwork had definitely brought this up a bit more here. The action sequences and just getting more to the story. I know some of it is definitely rushed, John, to your point earlier, but overall, just to get the general idea. Okay, like, Kitty is a weapon. She is a weapon in herself right now, and where does it go from here? This issue definitely has me hooked for the rest of the way. So overall, looking forward to it. I wanted to highlight. I saw Chet. He gave it a 7.0 for number 1 and number 2 an 8.5. Bobby 9.2 for both. Love it, Bobby.
Nice.
Roy Kirk going 7 and 9. I dig it.
It was good.
Yeah, absolutely. So appreciate everybody throwing those in there. Let's get the numbers real quick, and then we'll get into the questions and wrap things up. So I just did a side by side. I didn't do necessarily like a detail of specifics on each of these issues. I figure as we kind of go through them, I know you mentioned Shadowcat. Shadowcat's name's already mentioned in some of this stuff. Not mentioned in here, but people have talked when they think of these issues. Ogun is another kind of key character that we we'll continue to get more of. But I just wanted to go over the numbers here in terms of the grades. So both 1 and 2 both have 9.9 CGC on the census. It seems to have never been sold, at least from their recollection. As far as 9.8s go, very affordable. 9.8 for the first one is $60. Fair market value. Again, these are Go Collect issue or information. There's plenty of issue number 1. So I'm actually kind of surprised how many people, 323 sent in issue number 1, and only 74 sent in issue number 2. And yet the pricing is different. So number 2 is going for more money, $90. So
like the market
there's so few of them. I think it's probably there's a premium on those 74,
Right. And then of course there's a drop down on both of them for 9.6s. So any thoughts here, would you see yourself ever getting a CGC copy or spending that kind of money or just taking a raw copy?
No, man, this is a raw book all day. This is a raw dog. You want to get those individual issues, or there's probably even a collected edition that Marvel released at some point, all 6 issues in a trade. It's just worth it. It's just good fun, good reading.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah,
Phable, anything there?
Yeah. No, agreed. I think the market agrees with our assessment, but John's right. Less copies. Maybe there was a drop off after issue 1. Issue 1 wasn't the best, back in 82, right? This is 82.
84 and then into 85.
Oh, okay.
The two I started my slideshow already, and it was 85.
And yeah, as far as collecting, yeah, but I do that for any Uncanny X-Men. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't
Anything
care what
Claremont.
grade it is.
Anything
Give me the
Claremont,
guy.
you got to get right.
Yeah, I've got a few of Uncanny X-Men that are just terrible. Probably 1.5s, but I'll never give them away.
Yeah. A couple last bit of comments here. Roy Kirk saying, I'm dying. I'm only going to read these 2 at a time on the weekend. I'm with you, Jackson. I'm going to try to stick to just, 2 per show and go about it that way. But yeah, definitely, I am very interested to see what happens next. And Candace says that she has the whole set raw that she bought forever ago. Nice. I just got mine last year.
And a lot of shops, if they have those, like, you buy all the issues,
like
and
a set,
old school miniseries, you can find them in whole sets. So, like, I've purchased a lot of these 80s stories, whether
very
it's the like Vision and Scarlet Witch, or Marvel had a bunch of these that you can snag probably for a good price.
Even just X-Men had a lot of different. Iceman had his own, and a bunch of them. So
yeah, because we did the Magic one and the Storm one last season. So yeah,
yep. And yeah, Chet says this series stays raw. Agreed. All right, so let's close this out. That is those are the numbers. I should say. So Phable, again, dude, thank you for doing this with us, man. This is a blast. It's always a good time. We're not done yet. We got some questions. So people in the chat, get ready. And if you guys don't know how this works, we're going to ask questions based on last issue and last episode. We're looking for 2 correct answers. So if you see a correct answer that someone else already wrote, but no one else did, copy, paste it, throw it in there, because you also can get on, because we're looking for 2. And then we're also looking for 1 funny answer, 1 incorrect answer. And Phable is going to pick which one he thinks is the funniest or most entertaining to him. So you want to play to your audience there and put an answer in for that as well. So there's three different options, technically, or 2 different options to get your name on the board. And of course, quick reminder, we are going to be doing a giveaway. It is Thony. Is it Silas, John,
yes.
that I'm saying that right? So I forgot to mention this in the beginning. Thony Silas is who our artist is going to be. I put his information in the description below. So for those who are new to the show, we have been seeking out artists per season now to get kind of as like a featured artist that we want to highlight. So Tony's been really great. John has already gotten a couple of artwork from him himself. So we've already seen it in action. Really beautiful stuff. Thony seems like a really nice guy. So as you get these answers, you can get your name on the board so that when we spin the prize wheel at the end, you'll have more names to potentially win this art piece of artworart that we're going to.
Can you win a commission? You're basically winning a commission from him, so you can pick what you want him to draw. It's really cool. Yep. Yeah, he's a really talented guy.
I'm going to drop his Instagram in the chat there, so there it is in case anyone is not already following him. But definitely go support the artist. All right, let's start the questions here. John, I'll kick it over to you first.
Yeah. So firstly, John from Cali Comics, you're right. That the Iceman miniseries does have a first appearance of a character named Oblivion. So that's a cool mini. If you snag that for a good price, you get that first appearance thrown in. My question has to do with our guest last week, and I have a feeling that I will not get very many correct answers. So this could be one where you copy and paste and get the correct answer. Our guest, Lady Fantastic, last week. Before we got the show really going, at the very beginning, she showed something off. What did Lady Fantastic show off at the beginning of the show? Love Caroline, but let's have a little fun with Caroline. What is she showing off at the beginning of my channel? It was, by the way, R-rated last week. And no, Magic Lasso says boobies. Not correct.
Hero B00B.
Yes. He knows how to use a calculator.
Bias, yeah.
I'm going to jump all the way down to Conlon Comics. Her Cyclops tattoo. Amazing. But the correct answers are at the top. I saw Candace, I think.
Yep.
And I saw Alan.
Her enamel pin collection. Yes.
Was the second person Alan?
Yep.
Yes, she showed off her enamel pin collection, but this might be my favorite set of comedy answers. So Justin,
let's go through them.
Let's slam these.
So we got boobies was Magic Lasso. Adam said yellow pants.
Always a good look.
Callie said her cat. We did.
All right.
Yeah, we did see the
Thank
cat.
you for being PG on that.
Sandwich, classic
Always
sandwich
good.
answer. Joel, very nice. Yeah, so her Cyclops tattoo is great.
It's fair.
Ryan
She
says,
showed off
"Man,
man
fantastic."
fantastic.
I like it. Dolly Parton comics,
Which
JP
she does
answers.
have. That's not
There
a
you
joke.
go.
She does have those.
There you go. Yep, Bobby says her kitty cat. He says I chose not to copy Ryan's answer. Let's see, a tattoo of Ogun. Joel says. Yeah, JP, her cat. Her brass knuckles, Bobby says. She has some brass knuckles. All right. Any of those there, Phable, that stand out to you?
Oh, it's got to be boobies, man. That thing messed me up.
There we go.
If you know Fantastic, and then you think of that, you're like, that gives you a brain fart. You're like, what? Wait.
Yes.
That made me laugh immediately.
Fair.
Oh, yeah.
Fair.
Boobies.
All right.
Conlon, though, you're in my heart.
All right. My first question here is, let's see. What did we see Lee Forrester pull out of the ocean last episode?
Good.
What last episode we got to actually see Lee Forrester, which was an ex-girlfriend of Cyclops's,
of which there are many blonde ones.
which there are many, and
redhead ones.
and she was out at sea, and she pulled something out of the ocean. What was it that Lee Forrester pulled out of the ocean?
Yeah.
Let me update my comments here.
I see two correct, like a ton of great answers right off the bat.
Okay, so I think the first, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, Adam,
You got it.
with
Adam,
Magneto.
he's
That
coming
is
in
correct.
strong.
And then Ryan, Magic Lasso,
Correct.
with the correct answer. Sorry, other Ryan, you just missed it. For some funny ones, we do have we got Namor. I mean, he lives there, so
Right.
it would make sense. Atlantean phallus. Is that
That's the same as Namor,
right?
right? An underwater douche.
Yeah.
Geek.
Adam said she went magnet fishing.
No,
Yeah, see what you did there?
clever.
See
I
what
see what
you
you
did
did
there?
there.
JP says Moby Dick.
Same as the name. Same as the Namor one.
Colossus going with the boobies. She pulled boobies.
I'm easy. Colossus knows me, man.
He's already played in the chat.
Diana Ross's endless love, Ryan. Callie says a 95 Honda Civic.
Yeah.
That's so random.
That pays for itself right there. That's gold. That's money in the bank.
Oh, Amber
Head. I think he means Heard. Amber Heard.
Heard, yeah. As
We all threw that back in the ocean. We just threw it back.
a crate of Transformer figures. There you go. That's why into the audience right there.
Mint on the card.
Let's see, Trout that Rogue left behind in that creek a couple issues ago. Oh, yeah, when she was she was diving in that
she threw
the
it back.
water there.
Yep.
When people were yelling whistle at her. That's right. I see the only Omni Super Pro.
Nobody wants that omnibus. Even Greg would pass on that omnibus. Nobody.
The heart of the ocean.
Oh, Tafiti.
Anything here, Phable that stands out to you? Pigs of Scott and Maddie's honeymoon. Okay.
I don't know. I guess I'll go with the 95 Honda Civic because
all right.
Where was that one?
Allie,
nailing it.
All right, John. What's your second question?
Sorry, I'm moving stuff around. Dinner arrived while I was sitting in here.
Ooh,
That's
very
dope.
nice. Very nice.
My second question. Where did I go? I got distracted. I need two names, but there are three possible answers. My question is: can you name, or please name, two characters who came to the rescue at Forge's house? Name two people who came to rescue our characters when Forge's house was being attacked by those dire wraiths.
Oh, those dire wraiths.
And I sent the three correct ones to Justin, so I got three that I could recall. Maybe there was other ones that I forgot about, but you need both answers in one, and I'm going for spelling. So far, I see
both
none. I see none. Oh, wait. I see
Conlon,
one.
it is not Super Pro.
I see one correct answer. I think I see one correct answer.
Bobby, it is not Cheech and Chong.
It is not, but that would be awesome. I would be down for that.
Candace wrote 1, not 2, Scott.
So good.
That's a good one, Candace.
So I've got one. I got to mark that person down. Sometimes I'm going to forget. All right, I got one. The Micronaut. Charles is in charge of saving your eggs. Oh, I got the second one.
All right. So
scroll back up. I got Adam as the first one.
Nightcrawler and Ileana.
It was not Storm. Storm was already there. She was already inside. It was not Rogue or Colossus, but Nightcrawler is correct. And Magic or Ileana, Magic with a K. Remember, or M-I-G-I. No, it's YK. No, YC. I think it's YK. Whatever. Ileana, Nightcrawler, correct. And then later, all the way down there at the bottom, I think the next correct one
Roy Kirk
was Jackson Roy Kirk. Correct.
Yeah, right.
Ileana. And the other person was Amanda Sefton, who came in with her magic powers. So Amanda, Nightcrawler, or Ileana, any of those would have worked.
So Callie
spelled
makes
Ileana wrong? Who spelled Ileana wrong?
The first Adam.
Did he?
Yeah, he wrote it with I.
Ooh.
But to be fair, Roy Kirk spelled Amanda wrong.
Amanda. Oh my good lord.
So I don't know how you want to go with this, John. Are we gonna
I'm gonna give Colossus Collector a point for correcting everybody else. That's how I'm gonna solve that problem.
Well, Callie did too. Callie and
all right, I'll give Callie a point too. I'm just giving away points.
Callie has said he's
I'm trying to keep us on time for JP because
we're doing great. We're doing great.
We're doing all right.
All right.
Funny answers. What do we got?
He goes, I got spoken.
You did.
Yeah, Phable. Any of those there? I could re-highlight some of these.
Well, I like ridiculous stuff. So like the more ridiculous, the better. I'm fighting between Joel the Geek with Stingray, Globberman, and Rom. Like what?
Oh, I totally missed something. Did I miss that one?
I gotta give
it up. Joel,
Callie again, man. Scott Baio, Charles in Charge shows up.
Stingray, Glob, Herman, and Ron.
Glob,
so you want? So who?
Scott Baio, yeah. Charles
Joel and Callie.
That's the crazy. Yeah, Callie got it.
Callie, one more, and Joel gets one. Where's Joel? Do I have Joel? Joel, that might be your first one, my man. Joel, the geek on the board.
And Callie. Sorry, I'm just highlighting everything now. There's Scott Baio.
All right, I got like 7 points for that one question.
It's all good. It's Phable. We're allowed to.
Yeah, you can just blame Phable, everybody.
That's it. That's just it. When we're like, what? We have so many names, like it's Fable's fault. All right, last one here for me is what was so unique about the necklace found in the shipment of fish at the end of the issue? Last issue, there was an epilogue. And it seemed to be that there was a bunch of workers. They were delivering loads of fish off of a boat, and one of the workers there found this one fish that had a necklace, and it was something really unique about this necklace. What was it that was so unique about this necklace? This should be very interesting answer-wise. Let's see.
How do I watch the show and not know the answers? I love it.
All right, I see two that I have as the correct answers. I'm going to go with Adam here. It was talking, and Bobby, it talked. Those are correct. So Adam and Bobby have the correct answers, but we're looking for a funny answer. If you have one, throw it in the chat there. Blue Jewel was Ryan. Let's see, chat. You're behind. Let's see. Ryan says it wasn't the pearl necklace they were expecting to gift. It wasn't the pearl necklace.
Oh, Ryan.
Yeah, JP says pearl necklace. It was from Namor's nightstand. Says. Roy Kirk says it didn't smell like fish.
Right.
I mean, that would be impressive. Let's see. It offered the world. It did seem
I
like
can
that.
show you the world.
It had a picture of
B.
Betty
Arthur. Yeah, B. Arthur from the Golden
Arthur.
Girls. Yeah, one of the Golden Girls. There you go.
Oh,
Down.
Selling Bill Cosby jokes. God,
Watch out.
Yeah, it was from Zales for free $3.99.
There you go. There you go.
Let's see, it stays property of Stingray on the back.
It says property of Stingray. There you
go. Yeah. It comes from a strip club in the Bronx. A locket of Cyclops. Any of these Phable here have your?
I'm gonna go with the B. Arthur, man. The Golden
there it was.
Girls.
Anybody with a Golden Girls reference, winning
Bobby,
in my book. Bobby,
he knows his audience.
He's coming strong.
All right, gang. Well, that'll do it for the show this time. Just a reminder, we're going to be over on John's channel next Tuesday, so be ready, 9:00 Eastern, with our man JR, aka Rogue Slaw. Of course, we want to give a huge thank you to you, Phable, for joining us. It's been great, man. Back-to-back weeks hanging out with you, brother. If you guys missed John and I hanging out Friday with this guy, go check it out over on his channel. His link's in the description below. We had an absolute blast with the whole crew. Blame Phable Show and his amazing friends. Phable, we appreciate you, brother, and as always, just having you on here with us. Thank you.
Oh yeah, always a blast, guys. I mean, anytime.
Thanks, brother.
Seriously, anytime you guys need somebody, I'm here, man, for sure.
Right back at you.
And
appreciate
absolutely, go check out that show with Justin. We laughed
so funny.
that entire thing, man.
So good.
We really did. We really did.
Yeah, it was one of my favorites. You know, I have my favorites, and that was definitely one of them.
Absolutely. Same. All right, gang. Well, we appreciate everybody in the live chat. Still 17 of you. If anyone's interested, we're talking Black Hammer in just a few minutes over on JP's channel. If you want to jump over to that, Reborn Part 3. Otherwise, we'll be back on John's channel. So smash that like button on the way out. And until next time, we will talk to you later. Peace.